Hello crafters, this is Flavia and I am so glad you're here. In this video, we will be creating a few note cards featuring some die sets from Spellbinder's Out and About collection. This collection consists of really adorable die sets with great elements that allow us to create note cards for many different occasions. Spellbinders sent me a few products to play with, however, note that there are many more really amazing die sets as part of this collection, and I will make sure to link them all in the description box down below so you can check it out later. I had a lot of fun creating these note cards, and to be honest, I only stopped because I ran out of time, but I will definitely be making more note cards using these sets from the Out and About collection, especially because I have a few friends who have already claimed some of today's note cards. Let's begin with the Flowering Tree die set. This set consists of 5 metal plates that allow us to create a tiny tree with flower accents. As usual, throughout this video you will see me using either a wax pencil or a pair of self-lock tweezers to hold the really small die cut pieces, and I will be using the Bearly Art glue to adhere these die cuts. When we put a lot of time and effort into creating something special, I think it is very important that we also invest in a good quality adhesive to prevent our note cards from falling apart later. I have been using the Bearly Art glue for a couple of years now, and that is the one that I trust will make my note cards last a very long time. It is a very strong glue and I highly recommend it. Small die plates like this are perfect for using up our cardstock scraps so nothing goes to waste, and that is what I use to cut out most of these die cut pieces. Here I have a note card that is side folding and measures 5.5 inches wide by 4.25 inches tall. Before gluing these super cute tiny trees to my note card, I will apply some yellow ink on the front panel to resemble sunlight. I am placing a piece of low-tack tape here just to protect the lower section of this panel. After that, I will spray some gold shimmer all over this yellow section just to add some sparkle to the background. Then I will remove the yellow tape and begin decorating the note card. To create a matching envelope for all of today's note cards, I will use the Stampendo's A2 gift card holder and envelope die set. This is a wonderful set with metal plates that we can use to create a pocket-shaped A2 size envelope and a pop-up gift card holder. I have been using this set a lot lately, and if you're interested, I will add a link to another video on the top right corner where I share more information about this this amazing set by Stampendas. And here is a closer look at the completed note card along with the matching envelope. I also created a note card with a sentiment in Portuguese that I typed and printed using a LaserJet printer. Since I cannot find stamp sets with sentiments in Portuguese, which is my first language, this is what I usually do. I like to print many sentiments at once so I can always have it ready to go, and I like to use a LaserJet printer to do so I have the option to later, if I want to, hot foil these printed sentiments by using a laminator and deco foil. However, for this note card, I decided to keep the printed sentiment as it is. Moving on, here we have the Roller Disco Dotty die set that will allow us to create an adorable Dalmatian wearing roller skates. It was very easy to assemble these die cuts, and remember that we can always check the packaging for inspiration and instructions on how to put the pieces together. Instead of ink blending the background panel like I did for the previous note card, I will cover most of the front panel of this one with a piece of pattern paper. I will also add 3 cardstock strips below the dog, so it works as the floor for this cute Dalmatian and keeps it from looking like it is floating. At Spellbinder's shop, we can find a wide variety of beautiful pattern paper, and the ones that I am using today are by Bayfair. I have the small 6x6 paper pad that I use to cut out small pieces, and I saved the large 12x12 pages to create the matching envelopes, which is why I think it is great that we have the option to buy the same pattern paper in 2 different sizes. In the past, I bought many 12x12 pages because of the beautiful designs, but I have never really been a fan of 12x12 pages because I feel like it is just too big and inconvenient to store. However, I immediately changed my mind after I started creating my own envelopes with the Stampendas die set. It is very fast and easy to make, not to mention it is a great opportunity for using up the 12x12 pages. Let's now create with the Love Note bird die set. It comes with 8 metal plates that we can use to create a birdie carrying a love note, as well as small and large flowers and branches. I think this set is great for creating note cards for Valentine's Day, wedding and anniversary. And of course, we can get creative and add other elements to create note cards for other occasions as well, so we can make the most out of this set. For example, instead of this bird carrying an envelope, we can add a die-cut balloon to make a birthday note card, or we can add poinsettias die cuts instead of using the regular flower plates that came with this die set to make Christmas note cards. The options are endless, and we can always mix and match different sets to create new scenes, and I love doing so. I will use black Nuvo drops to make these bird's eyes. However, instead of applying it on top of the die cut as we normally would, I actually prefer to cut out another layer and add the Nuvo drop to the second layer of die cut. This way, I do not have to worry about applying the perfect amount, and if I do mess it up, it will not be a problem because the die cut that will go on top will hide it and nobody will ever know. I also like to do it this way because as we add the second layer of die cut on top and press it down, it will squeeze out the perfect round amount, as we can see here. This is a trick that I always do when creating Krita's eyes with Nuvo drops. Off screen, I cut out this white circle using 2 circle die plates, and I will use it as a guide to create a wreath using green die cut branches. Instead of adhering these branches to this white circle, I am adhering one branch on top of another, and once I am done, I will remove this white circle and and only adhere the green branches to the front of my note card. However, before I do so, I will add some yellow ink to the front panel right in the center. Then I will spray some golden shimmer just to add some sparkle. To do so, I will place my note card inside a box so I don't spray golden shimmer all over my desk, and I am using a piece of cardstock that I used to cut out that white circle from as a stencil to make sure I only add golden shimmer to this yellow section and protect this way the rest of my white panel. Once that is done, we can begin decorating the note card. To cut out these tiny flowers and leaves, I used metal plates included in the flowering tree die set. The Love Note Bird die set does come with metal plates that we can use to cut out some flowers as well. However, to decorate this wreath, I decided to go with these smaller die cuts instead. For the sentiment, I decided to add a hot foiled sentiment at the bottom right corner that I created using the Spellbinders must-have sentiments Glimmer hot foil plate and die set. And here is a closer look at the note cards. By the way, I did use foam squares to adhere each bird to a note card, so it has a little bit of dimension, and I added golden flat back beads to the center of each small flower. For the sentiment in Portuguese, this time I decided to hot foil the printed sentiment using golden deco foil and my laminator. The next set from the Out and About collection that I have to share with you is the Skateboarding Cherry with 4 die plates included to create a cool terrier dog on a skateboard. I will again use black Nuvo drops to make this dog's eyes. I am placing a piece of tape over the negative space to create a surface where I can apply a small amount of black Nuvo drop. And since I accidentally stained my die-cut dog with Nuvo drops, I will add another die-cut layer on top just to hide my mistake, which ended up making this die-cut dog stand out even more. Stacking die-cut pieces is a great way of using up leftover pieces of cardstock to add dimension to our projects. For the card base, I will add a 3 inches wide piece of pattern paper to a note card that measures 5.5 inches wide by 4.25 inches tall. The reason why I place a note card on the corner of my scoring board is to make it easier for me to quickly line up the panel with the note card as I glue them together. If you plan on hot foiling a sentiment as I did for this note card, make sure you do so before decorating the front panel. To hot foil the sentiment Happy Birthday to You, I used a piece of golden foil and a plate included in the Spellbinders More Sentiments set. I also decided to add some cardstock strips below the pattern paper, and using a pair of scissors, I will later trim off all of the excess paper that is hanging out. After that, I will adhere this adorable cherry to the front panel using foam adhesive so it stands out from the background. However, if you do not like adding dimension to your note cards, you can definitely skip this step and simply use liquid adhesive. And here is a closer look at the 2 note cards that I created with the Spellbinders Skateboarding Cherry die set and the matching envelopes, which I love. And last but definitely not least, here we have the Dancing in the Rain die set with 10 plates included. And as the name indicates, this character will have an interactive element. Spellbinders has a wide selection of dancing sets, which means that the lower body of these characters swing from side to side, creating a fun surprise for the recipient, and I am a huge fan of these die sets. The raincoat, by the way, was a great opportunity to use pattern paper, and the tiny duck with its rain gear is just adorable. simple. I will probably make a note card with lots of this tiny die-cut duck in a row just for fun. To adhere most of these die-cut pieces to the note card, we will need to use foam adhesive, and I will show you how the dancing mechanism works in a minute. Using this Head in the Clouds embossing folder, I will add a little bit of texture and interest to my note card. I will actually place a whole note card that is 5.5 inches tall by 4.25 inches wide inside this folder so I can add texture to the front and to the back of my card base. Then, in order to create a smooth space to write a personal message later, I will glue two 5.25 by 4 inches white panels inside this note card. Then, I will begin decorating the front panel by first adhering the die-cut puddle at the bottom using liquid adhesive, and later I will also use liquid adhesive to glue the yellow duck to this note card. However, to adhere all of the other die-cut pieces, we will need to use foam adhesive. So now I will place the lower body exactly where I want it to go, and then I will add a piece of round foam adhesive right in the center of this circle. And because I don't trust foam adhesive, I will also apply a small amount of the Bearly Art glue to each foam piece just to be safe. We will also need to add a piece of foam adhesive to the top section of the die-cut coat, making sure that it doesn't interfere with the movement of the lower body of this character. If you do feel that the legs are getting stuck as you swing it from side to side, it is probably because the piece of adhesive that you added to the back of the die-cut coat is too big, which is exactly what I did here. In that case, all we have to do is to remove the die-cut coat and replace the foam that we added in the back for a smaller piece so it is further from the interactive mechanism. Before adding all of the other die-cut elements, remember to test it out so you can be sure that the legs of this character can freely swing from side to side. For the sentiment, I decided to hot foil Sending Hugs using a piece of pink foil and that must-have sentiment set that I showed you earlier. I will also add foam adhesive to the back of the die-cut umbrella so it is at the same level as the other die-cut pieces. To add some sparkle, I will go over the rain boots with a shimmer pen, and as a final touch, I will add lots of tiny die-cut raindrops. It did take me a while to die-cut all of these raindrops, but I think it was totally worth it. The metal plate actually cuts 4 drops at once, so it wasn't that bad. And this wax pencil that I'm using to pick up these tiny pieces do make the process much faster and enjoyable. By the way, when it comes to these dancing characters, the flatter and less texture the panel has, the more movement this dancing character will have. So that is something to consider when thinking about dry embossing the front panel. Since I chose a basic embossing folder, I did not think that it was a problem, and my characters were swinging from side to side no problem. However, I would not recommend using a 3D embossing folder because I think it will be just too much. And finally, here is a closer look at the 2 final note cards, and I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did recording it. For pictures of these note cards and a visual supply list, make sure to visit my blog. If you create something inspired by this video, make sure to tag me on Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching this video until the end and helping my channel grow. I hope you have a wonderful day and happy crafting!